Okay, let's unpack this. Today we are diving into a really powerful set of sources. They all kind of revolve around this one single illuminating metaphor, actually. It's called the inner container.
Right. It's a concept that um, it really shifts your focus, doesn't it? From like looking outside yourself to looking at your internal capacity.
Exactly.
So instead of asking, what can I get? It's more like, what am I actually capable of holding?
Yeah, visualize this for a moment. You're standing at the edge of this huge, abundant ocean.
Right.
And that ocean, it represents everything, all the potential joy, success the universe has.
Right.
You're there, ready to receive. But the container you've brought with you, its size, its shape, that's what limits how much of that ocean, that success, that peace you can actually carry away.
So the bigger the container.
The more you can experience. It's a really elegant analogy, I think. Very visceral.
It really is. And that analogy, it's pretty much the backbone of this whole deep dive, the
Yeah.
sources we're looking at, including some unique metaphysical writings, I think from Grandmaster Waxhira.
That's the one. From the sacred Atlantean Brotherhood.
Right. So these sources claim that our achievements, what we actually do, are directly limited by the size of this internal structure, our ability to perceive, believe, and receive.
It flips the script, doesn't it? It's not just about hustle, it's about internal allowance.
Exactly. Internal allowance.
I found that Grandmaster's core insight really sharp. He says, your life is a reflection of your inner container. If you fill your container with small beliefs, limiting thoughts, and fears, you will only be able to carry a small portion of what the universe has to offer.
Yeah, that hits home. It suggests our capacity isn't like fixed at birth.
Right. It's dynamic, something we cultivate.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And if we accept that premise, well, the journey kind of has to begin by looking at the first thing that shapes the container.
Belief.
Belief dictates the initial shape, the structural integrity, you could say, of the container itself.
Right. So this is where it gets really interesting, where we start thinking about building capacity. Let's look at the limitation side first. If I believe in scarcity, maybe, or if I think my potential is capped by my past, how does that actually restrict the container?
Well, it creates an immediate ceiling, a self-imposed one. If you truly believe resources are scarce, your mental filter, think of it as the container's lid. It only lets you see and process things that confirm scarcity.
Confirmation bias, basically.
Oh, kind of, yeah. You might miss opportunities that are right there, or maybe you just miss compliments, avoid challenges, all because your belief system has already shrunk your capacity to receive anything good, anything like success.
But the sources really push for the opposite choice, don't they? To actively expand that belief system,
Yeah.
to embrace infinite potential, abundance,
Yeah.
possibility.
Yes. And when you consciously choose those expansive beliefs, you fundamentally change the container size. It's not just positive thinking, it's restructuring. Well, you stop seeing effort as just draining you. You start seeing it as a way to expand capacity itself. Think about it. It's the difference between someone seeing a crisis and thinking, yep, inevitable failure, versus someone seeing that same crisis and thinking, okay, this is tough, but it's a chance for major growth.
That makes sense. This expansion, though, it often feels disruptive, right? Which I think is why the sources bring in some ancient wisdom. They mention Sam, too, from the Gospel of Thomas.
It's a fascinating quote. Let him who seeks continue seeking until he finds. When he finds, he will become troubled.
Troubled, not happy.
Not immediately. When he becomes troubled, he will be astonished, and he will reign over the all.
So the seeking itself is the growth mechanism, challenging your limits. But why troubled? Why isn't finding the truth joyful?
That trouble. I think it represents the cognitive dissonance, the mental growing pains. It's the sound of your old container cracking open because the truth you just found is too big, too powerful, maybe too contradictory for the small beliefs you held before.
You can't fit a gallon of truth into a teacup.
Exactly. There's bound to be some turbulence.
Yeah.
It's like the necessary destruction of the old, limited self. And that allows you to then become astonished and eventually reign over your life. You master your experience because your internal capacity finally matches the external reality, or at least starts to.
Okay, that reframes struggle completely. It's a sign of expansion. That's really helpful. So let's shift gears slightly. We've talked about belief, the container structure. What about perception? How does the size of the container change the lens through which we see everything?
Right, perception. So a small container, it dictates a really reactive, narrow view of the world. Because you believe resources are scarce, that core belief, again, you're almost forced into competition.
You see other people's success as your loss.
Pretty much. The world feels hostile because your container, your filter, it's primarily letting in signals of threat and struggle.
So perception isn't passive observation. It's an active reflection of what's inside.
Absolutely. If your internal container is large, expansive, you start perceiving the world as abundant. You naturally look for collaboration, not conflict. The world literally starts to mirror your inner state. It confirms your capacity because you're filtering reality for potential, not for limitation.
And to kind of anchor this idea, this expansive perception, the sources use a quote from the Talmud. It's simple, but quite profound. Who is wise? He who learns from every man.
Yeah, that quote perfectly illustrates a large container in action, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Someone limited by their ego, their small container, they think they know it all.
Their container sealed shut.
Exactly.
Okay.
Refusing new input. But the truly wise person, the one with that expanding capacity, they stay humble. They understand that insight, that wisdom. It can come from anywhere.
From anyone.
A child, a colleague you don't like, a random experience. They keep their container open to receive. And that continuous reception, that's what allows their capacity to just keep growing. No upper limit.
Okay, so if we accept this container is real, it's dynamic, we can expand it, we probably need some kind of, I don't know, instruction manual. Which brings us to those spiritual tools mentioned in the sacred Atlantean Brotherhood sources. They offer a systematic approach. But for someone listening now, what are these kind of esoteric practices really designed to do in practical terms?
Yeah, it's important to frame them less as like ancient rituals you must perform verbatim, and more as a system of metaphorical tools.
Yeah.
Tools for building metaphysical capacity.
Okay.
The overall goal is to cultivate your ability to hold more light, more truth, more wisdom. They're essentially cognitive and spiritual exercises for expanding the vessel.
Let's look at some of those tools. They start with the initiate degree. We hear about the ocean and ritual purification.
Right, the ocean, that represents the first big realization.
Yeah.
That divine consciousness, the source, it's vast, limitless, like the ocean we talked about earlier.
Okay, and the purification.
The purification rituals, they're specifically designed to clear out the initial debris from the container. The dense blocks, limiting beliefs, old fears, stuck emotions, like cleaning a cup before you fill it.
Makes sense. How? What do the practices involve?
Generally things like focused meditation, specific breathing techniques, ways to calm the nervous system and prepare the mind to actually receive that expansion. You have to clear the space first.
Got it. Then, as someone progresses, say, to the navigator and captain degrees, the tools get more specific. They introduce the compass, the anchor, and the blazing star.
Yes. More advanced tools for navigation.
I'm curious about the compass first. It symbolizes the rational mind. How does the rational mind help expand a spiritual container? Doesn't logic sometimes limit us?
That's a really good question, and it highlights the balance needed. The compass here isn't just random logic. It's the rational mind directed towards a higher purpose. It helps you check your true north.
How so?
Well, if you find yourself navigating your life towards scarcity or fear, the compass is the tool that forces you to rationally examine why. Is this direction actually serving you? Is this belief true? It's like a critical thinking tool, specifically for challenging those limiting beliefs you might have just absorbed emotionally.
Okay, so the rational mind isn't restricting the container. It's making sure the expansion is stable, grounded in some kind of truth.
Exactly. Stable and aligned. It prevents you from just floating off into delusion.
That makes sense. What about the anchor, then?
The anchor is explicitly defined as the breath, which is brilliant, really. In our world, which is so fast-paced, so stressful, the breath is the most immediate physiological tool we have for centering ourselves during emotional storms.
Right. When you feel overwhelmed.
Exactly. When the winds of fear or doubt start rocking your boat, the anchor your conscious breathing provides stability. It's the ultimate grounding mechanism. It keeps your capacity secure, stops it from, leaking or collapsing under pressure.
Okay, compass for rational alignment, anchor for grounding, and finally, the blazing star.
The blazing star. That's intuition. It's the non-rational, higher guidance. If the compass gives you direction based on known maps and data, the blazing star illuminates the path forward into the unknown.
Ah, so it's about accepting wisdom beyond just logic.
Precisely. True capacity means being able to receive truths that your current rational container might not fully grasp yet. It's that flash of insight, that gut feeling, the light that guides your ultimate expansion beyond the logical mind.
Wow. Okay, this is definitely a much deeper framework than just, Think positive. So let's bring it home. What does this all mean for us right now? How do we take these concepts, the compass, the anchor, the blazing star, and actually apply them today to expand our own capacity? The sources give 5 concrete methods.
Yeah, we need to sort of operationalize these metaphors, make them practical. And these 5 steps, they connect directly back to managing belief, perception, and using those Atlantean tools in a modern way.
Okay, first one. Use the compass to challenge your beliefs.
Exactly. Regularly use your rational mind, your compass, to really analyze your deep-seated assumptions about money, relationships, success, yourself. Ask, is this belief actually true? Is it serving me? Or is it just a story I inherited or made up?
And if the compass shows the belief is pointing you towards stagnation,
Then you have to rationally, consciously replace that limiting thought with a more expansive truth. You choose a new direction.
okay, second step, practice gratitude. But they frame it here as cultivating the ocean.
Yes. Gratitude shifts your perception fundamentally. When you consistently focus on what is good, what is abundant in your life, even small things, you start to experience that feeling of vastness, like the ocean.
You train your container to recognize abundance.
You train it to recognize that it's already standing at the edge of infinite potential. And that feeling, that recognition, automatically expands your capacity to receive even more. Appreciation builds capacity.
Third, seek wisdom. This connects back to that Talmud quote, the anti-ego idea.
Right. Commit to learning from every source. This is the practical application of humility we talked about. Your ego, your small container self, it wants to seal itself off, protect what it knows.
But seeking wisdom is actively keeping the lid open.
It's the active decision to keep it open, allowing your container to be stretched and enlarged by other people's perspectives, by new experiences, by books, by nature, everything.
Okay. Fourth, engage in rituals. And we can connect this to the anchor.
Use sacred, consistent practices. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Formal meditation is great. But it could be breathing exercises, maybe just 5 minutes of mindful silence each morning.
Something regular.
Yes, consistency is key. These are ways to activate your anchor. These daily, small rituals, they refine your mind and spirit, clear out the residue, the blocks of fear and stress. By grounding yourself daily, maybe with your breath, you ensure your container stays stable while it's expanding.
Got it. And the final one, connect with the divine, which sounds like tuning into the blazing star.
Exactly. Spend time daily actively cultivating your ability to receive that intuitive guidance. This is where you step back from just rational calculation and allow the blazing star, that higher wisdom, to shine through.
Through prayer, meditation, quiet contemplation.
Whatever works for you, that spiritual connection is vital for maintaining and expanding your container so it can hold the greatest possible light and wisdom the universe or God or whatever you call it has to offer.
This has been, wow, a really powerful reminder that achievement, fulfillment, it starts internally, doesn't it? It really shifts the whole focus away from just external effort.
It does. The core message is pretty challenging, actually. The quality, the quantity of opportunities, of joy, of success you receive, it's a near-perfect reflection of the inner capacity you've built.
As the inner world expands.
The outer world has no choice but to mirror that growth. It has to adjust.
Which brings us back to that really profound statement from the sources, whatever is dispelled by light never existed.
Meaning the limitation, the fear, the scarcity. It wasn't fundamentally real. It was just the absence of light, the lack of capacity to hold the truth.
The limiting beliefs are illusions, phantoms.
Exactly. They just vanish once the container gets big enough, strong enough to hold the light of what's actually true.
So we want to leave you, the listener, with this final provocative thought to maybe chew on. If you accept, even just for a moment, that your life is a direct reflection of your container's current size, what is one single deeply held belief you carry, maybe rooted in scarcity or fear that you could rationally challenge today, right now, using that metaphorical compass? What belief could you question to instantly, even slightly increase your capacity for abundance?
Think about it. Identify it.
And maybe start expanding that container right now.